Hey everyone, this is attorney Richard Shea from the Shea Law Firm in the Woodlands, Texas. Today we're going to talk about the 2023 nursing home Medicaid changes because we're now just starting February and we haven't done a video discussing the changes that took place on January 1st. Every year the numbers change a little bit for nursing home Medicaid. So if you have a family member, a parent, or a spouse needing to apply for nursing home Medicaid, these are the numbers that you're going to need to know to evaluate their case and decide how to move forward. So the biggest change is the income cap for 2023. This year it's now $2,742 a month. That is gross income, and that is only considering the nursing home resident's income. If there is a spouse, it does not factor into their income. That's not part of the equation. But it is important to remember that's gross income and not net income. So you have to add things back into their net deposit, like Medicare premiums, tax withholding, any other kind of deductions that are being taken out, sometimes from pensions. You need to add those back in to see if you're over or under the $2,742 a month. If you're under it, you're fine. You don't have to worry about it. You pass the test. If you're over it, then you're going to have to take some additional steps, like creating a Miller Trust or a qualified income trust, which will then, for eligibility purposes, bring you back under the limit. So if you're under the limit, you're fine. If you're over the limit, we can get you under the limit, but you're going to have to take some additional steps to get there. It's not automatic. So that's the income limit for 2023. Next, we'll look at the asset limits for 2023. For an individual in a nursing home that's not married, it's still $2,000 of counted assets, which is not every asset, just the non-exempt assets. And if you're not sure what type of assets you're dealing with, you should certainly speak with a professional to decide what's at risk. If you're married, the asset situation is a little bit different. The nursing home resident spouse still has an asset limit of $2,000, but the spouse at home, not in the nursing home, they have their own asset limit as well. For 2023, the minimum amount of assets they're allowed to have is $29,724, and the maximum is $148,620. Now, how this operates is a little bit different than most people assume. So if your combined assets are $29,000, then the spouse at home will be able to keep everything because that's below the minimum of $29,724. But if your assets are above that minimum, you don't get to keep everything up to $148,000 and $148,620. So, for example, if you had $150,000, the spouse at home would not be able to keep $148,620. That's the maximum, but that's the maximum of half your assets. So for $150,000 in a married couple's assets, one half would be $75,000 for each spouse. So the spouse at home will get $75,000 and the nursing home spouse has $75,000. The spouse at home gets to keep their $75,000, but the spouse in the nursing home, they have an asset limit of $2,000. So you're looking at a $73,000 spend down there. So that's the way the asset limit works for married couples in a nursing home. Now, with the right planning and with the right moves, you can protect that $73,000 that would otherwise be spent down, but it's not automatic. You got to work with somebody like me who knows how to protect those assets and get you through the entire application process without a problem. How the maximum plays out is, let's say you had $300,000 in assets as a married couple. Then the spouse at home will be able to keep the $148,620 because one half of $300,000 is $150,000, which is over that maximum, but she'd be able to keep the $148,000. And then the rest, the other $150,000, would be subject to a spend down just like the $73,000 before. So that's how the minimum and maximums work for spouses. If you're not clear about anything, if you're facing this situation, feel free to post a comment or reach out, and we can discuss how the numbers work in your specific case. They can get a little bit confusing when you're not used to the mechanics of the calculations they do. So the general rule of thumb for a spouse at home is you get to keep one half. That one half can't be less than $29,000 or more than $148,000, but your starting point is one half. Next, you're gonna be looking at how much income the spouse at home is allowed to keep from the married couple's income, because as you know, there's a nursing home copayment when you go on Medicaid. The spouse at home gets a minimum income of $3,715.50. Again, that's $3,715.50. So if you have a couple that's income is below that, then all the income would go to the spouse at home, and the nursing home spouse would be getting nursing home care, doctor's visits, medications, all for a copay of $0, which is a pretty good deal. So the spouse at home would get all the income, and with the right moves would be able to keep all the assets, depending on their circumstances. So for married couples that need nursing home care, it's usually very affordable, as long as you make the right moves. Now, the other way this spousal income works out is if the spouse at home has income. Let's say the spouse at home has income of $2,000 and the spouse in the nursing home has income of $2,000. So that's $4,000 in combined income. The spouse at home always keeps their own income. So they start out with $2,000 and they get $1,700 and change diverted to them from the nursing home spouse. So even in that case, you'd be looking at nursing home care and all your medical expenses covered for just a few $100s a month, which again is a pretty good deal. The only situation where you want to be aware of how it's going to play out is if the spouse at home has a high income of their own, if they have a high pension or if they're still working or whatever the cause is. So if the spouse at home has income of, let's say, $3,500 and the spouse in the nursing home has income of, let's say, $1,500, they were living on a budget of $5,000 a month. If the other spouse goes on nursing home Medicaid, the spouse at home gets to keep their income, the $3,500, but they're not going to get the $1,500 from the spouse in the nursing home. They're going to get enough to bring them up to that $3,715. But that's going to be it. The rest is going to be going towards the cost of their care. So that's how the income limit plays out for married couples. Again, I know all this stuff can be a little bit confusing when it's new to you. If you're not sure how something applies in your case, or you need to discuss a specific situation in a little bit more detail, feel free to reach out to us at texastitle19.com. Again, that's texastitle19.com. Or give us a call at 832-856-4526. Again, that's 832-856-4526. And we can discuss your case in more detail and stop the spend down for your family, because that's what this is all about. So I hope that clears everything up on the 2023 Texas nursing home Medicaid numbers. Again, this is just for Texas. Each state has their own numbers. So if you're looking at another state, none of this applies to you. But if you're in Texas and you have a family that needs nursing home Medicaid, this is what you're going to be dealing with. So if you have any questions, feel free to post in the comments below, or otherwise reach out to us and we'd be happy to help you. Again, this is Attorney Richard Shea with the Shea Law Firm in the Woodlands, Texas, and we're helping Texas families stop the spend down. Thanks.